Howdy, folks. I'm Brian,
I'm Amber.
and here's.
A zombie Brian, bad brains, and Reddit.
Oh my! I wasn't expecting a zombie Brian to make an appearance today. It's November, zombie Brian. What are you doing here?
It's always Halloween in my soul.
Brains. I am here for brains.
All right, well, let's get started. All right, folks. Our first letter is titled, "Am I a jerk for telling my daughter to leave for embarrassing me on social media?" My husband and I have 6 children and live in a 4-bedroom home. As you can imagine, space is tight. My husband and I have one room. The eldest 2 share, the middle 2 share, and the youngest 2 share. This question pertains to my eldest, an 18-year-old female. She recently started university in September and moved to live in student accommodations there. Her university is just under an hour from us, so she kept her weekend job here and planned to travel and stay here on Friday night and leave and go back to university on Sunday after work. She is looking for a job closer to her university, but hasn't found one that pays as well as her current one. When she left, I told our second eldest, the 16-year-old female, that the room was now hers alone. We sold my eldest's bed and wardrobe and drawers to make more space, and instructed my second eldest to leave one drawer free for my eldest to put her belongings in when she returned from her weekends. When the eldest returned for her first weekend back, she asked what happened to her bed and wardrobe, and I explained the above, and that she doesn't live here anymore, so she doesn't need it at all. We provided her with a camp bed to sleep in the room, and that she could fold up and store when she left. She was unhappy and went to bed. Well, later that night, I checked her Twitter, and she had tweeted, "I don't feel like I have a home anymore." Frowny face. I was furious that she had brought our family business onto social media and woke her up to tell her so. We argued, and I ultimately told her that if she doesn't feel like this is her home anymore, then she needs to leave and get out of my house. She did, and my husband was able to find out that she made the last train back to her university town that evening. The following Friday, she messaged me to say, very bluntly, "I'm sorry for tweeting about how I felt. I won't do it again." She has also either deleted her Twitter or changed her account name and blocked me, so I can't verify if she'll stick to this. However, I have told her that I forgave her and she is welcome to return again. She has not returned home since that weekend. Throughout the entirety of October, she didn't come home once. And she has been instead traveling to and from work both on Saturday and Sunday instead of coming to our home. I messaged to ask her when she was coming back for Christmas break to find out if she was returning, and she said that her flatmate's parents told her that she can spend Christmas with them. So that's what she'll be doing. Was I really so wrong in how I dealt with this that I've pushed my daughter away? My husband thinks so, and so does my second eldest, but I believe I handled it well. Perhaps I shouldn't have told her to leave, but does that warrant her abandoning her family? Alright, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Big jerk.
Yeah, I mean, I think in this particular case, OP, you essentially told her that she wasn't welcome in your home, and she took you up on that offer.
Right. Well, first of all, you move all her stuff out without her even bothering to tell her.
Yeah.
And it's not like she's completely moved out either. Like, what about summer break? What about Christmas break? Do you really expect her to live on a cot for like months at a time?
Well, plus she was coming back every weekend, right?
Yeah.
So she was supposed to be coming back every single weekend. And before her bed was even cold, you moved it out and sold it. So
And it sounds like there wasn't any impetus. Like, yeah, you
yeah.
wanted to give the second oldest more space, but like there wasn't really a need to move it at that second.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you could have gotten rid of like a wardrobe or something to that effect if that was empty and she had taken all of her clothes with her and she was only expecting to bring like light luggage. But I think it was a bit extreme to get rid of her bed and tell her that she's sleeping on a cot from now on. I think that it kind of showed that you really had just pushed her out of the house. It's almost like when the parents, you know, usher their child away to college and then immediately turn their room into like a master bathroom with a giant spa or something like that. It just kind of makes a kid feel like they're unwelcome, that their parents don't really have a place for them when they come home, right? So you basically told them that you don't have a place in this house anymore.
And then she was just trying to vent some normal frustration, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, get out. At
Yeah.
nighttime of all times.
Well, yeah, you kicked her out of your house and in the middle of the night, woke her up to basically be like, oh, yeah, by the way, get out. And you expect her to return again? It doesn't work that way. It does not work that way.
And I like how you're like, well, is this so much for her to abandon her family? She hasn't abandoned her family. You abandoned her.
Yeah, I mean, that's just it. Exactly. And what about you, Zombie Brian? What do you have to say about this?
Brains. No brains.
Well, that wasn't very nice, Zombie Brian. You shouldn't say things like that. Anyhow, take care. Good luck. And Impressive Tomato says, you're the jerk basically pushed her out and got offended that she was hurt. You chose to have 6 children. You don't just throw them out once they're 18. Also, where did you think that she would be staying during the summer? On a camp bed? That's a joke. And also, just so you know, usually find friends at the university that become family. Her friends and family will become her new comfort, and they will feel like home. So you probably just lost that connection for a while. Happened to me. And I usually don't say tomato, but rarely do I have a chance to say tomato, so I decided just to say it the fancy way. Tomato. And Entire Knowledge 2146 says, you're a big jerk. I have moved from my parents 20 years ago. My stuff is still there. My bed is still there. To be erased like you did to your daughter and being so ignored of her feelings is horrible. When I left, my parents told me, this is still your house. Anything happens and the doors are open to you. There is not a price to have a safe place with your loved ones. All right, folks. Our next letter is titled, am I a jerk for thinking my employee looks younger than she actually is? I'm a 37-year-old male, and I'm the assistant manager to Pat, a 43-year-old female, at a local business. I've been here for about 10 years overall, and my manager has been here for about 13. We just took on a new hire about a month ago, Layla, a 21-year-old female. Saturday evening, Layla stayed after work with us and most of her coworkers and their plus ones for a little Halloween party. We had snack, drinks, and some alcohol. Everything was organized by my manager, and some of the higher-ups from the business branch in the capital were supposed to pop by. My manager had to leave for an hour to take care of some personal things, so I was in charge of overseeing things while she was gone. Everything was going fine, so I got a drink. At some point shortly after, I was chatting with a coworker and his girlfriend when I spotted Layla across the room drinking a twisted tea. The thing is, I didn't know she was 21. While 18 is our minimum age for hiring, Layla looks 14 to 16, so it seemed like if she was 18, it was only barely. So I thought that she was drinking underage. I walked over and asked her to stop drinking and to throw it away, and that I wouldn't talk to the manager about it as long as she stopped now and didn't argue with me about it. She looked surprised and started to apologize and said that she thought that we were allowed to drink. I didn't mean to break a rule. The others are drinking. I told her that it's not a work rule, it's the law. And that's when she looked confused. I took her drink from her and said, honey, you know you're underage. This is a work function at a place of business, not your friend's house. I was just trying to be polite and let her know that even though I wasn't going to allow it, I wasn't necessarily upset with her and that she wasn't in any trouble. This is when things got messy. Layla started telling me that she was 21, turning 22 in about 6 weeks, and that she had no problem going and getting her license for me because she gets this kind of confusion from people often. I told her that I'd like to see her license, but that I'd still rather that she didn't drink for the rest of the night. She asked why, and I told her that no matter what her license says, people will still think that she looks like a teenager, and I can't have people in the store seeing her drink and thinking that I condone underage drinking. especially when the higher-ups come by. Layla said, okay, dumped her drink, and then disappeared. I heard from someone later on that she called a friend to pick her up and went home. I came into work yesterday morning and Layla didn't show up. And when I asked Pat where she was, she told me that Layla got today off because of the Halloween party incident and that we needed to talk about how I treated her. She said that I had no right to keep Layla from drinking when she was of legal age. So, regardless of how young she appeared. But I still think that I'm right and that Layla posed a potential liability. Was I actually the jerk here? All right, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Yes, you're the jerk. She was legally old enough to drink.
Well, yeah, that's just it, is that if anyone came and questioned her age, then she could show them the ID. And if you have questions about the validity of the ID, then I mean, that's a completely different issue at hand. But the fact is that she was 21, she was legally allowed to drink, and the fact that you were stopping her from drinking is very problematic. Now, here's the thing. If you don't want her drinking, then no one else can drink, right? So you need to institute a policy if you're this uncomfortable with her drinking to say, oh yeah, holiday parties, no one drinks, they're all dry now. So if you're that worried about looking like you're condoning underage drinking. What do you have to say about this, Zombie Brian?
Brains. No brains.
Zombie Brian, that wasn't very nice again. I thought we had a discussion about this. You can't be going around saying that, Zombie Brian.
No brains.
All right, I guess we'll just move along then. And Sunflowery says, you're the jerk. What are you, a 37-year-old in a management position calling a subordinate honey?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that point.
one. I meant to bring that up too.
Yeah.
Like, that's just so gross.
Unprofessional. And Legitimate Meal 2290 says, he was just trying to be polite. Yes, very polite indeed. All right, folks, our last letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Commenting on a Trick-or-Treater's Height? Well, last night, I, a 42-year-old female, was giving out candy to trick-or-treaters and a group of kids, looked around 9 to 18, and came to my doorstep. One of them was tall, 5'6", and she said trick or treat before taking candy from my bowl. Where I live, kids take one piece of candy from a bowl. I didn't feel comfortable with grown-up trick-or-treaters trick-or-treating, so I said with a smile, "You're a tall trick-or-treater, aren't you? You look really tall for a trick-or-treater," as a joke. The girl gave me an awkward smile and walked off. The group of kids that she was with, and a man, presumably her dad, gave me a dirty look and walked off. I overheard her dad say, "What does my height have to do with this? It's not like I'm a grown adult in my 20s trick-or-treating a middle-aged person. I'm literally just a teenager. I just felt uncomfortable with teenagers and grown people trick-or-treating. I didn't mean anything bad by it, but maybe I took it too far, and I should have kept my comments to myself. Am I the jerk?" All right, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Yes, you're the jerk. Let people have their fun, and if you want to micromanage trick-or-treaters, then just don't hand out candy.
Yeah, well, that's just it. It's like you can't choose whether or not adults are gonna trick-or-treat or not. And the thing is that I take a great deal of delight in giving away candy to adult trick-or-treaters too. I think that it's fun. I have no problem giving out candy. I think that everyone can get into the spirit and have a little bit of fun trick-or-treating. It's great.
Yeah.
It's great. What do you think, Zombie Brian?
Brains. No brains. No brains.
All right, Zombie Brian. We'll go and get you brains later. Okay?
Um,
Stop this.
Help. I'm a little afraid here, people.
Oh, don't worry, Amber. We'll only take a few brains.
Send help, please.
Anyhow, take care and good luck. And Thy Grumpire says, you're the jerk. People complain when teenagers drink, smoke, do illicit substances, commit crimes, party, fight, and cause mayhem. Rightfully so. But when they complain when teenagers want to go trick-or-treating and have kiddish hobbies, nothing a teenager ever does is good enough. Even if she's 18, it's not hurting anyone, and might even be her last year of trick-or-treating. And those years are memorable. I would understand if she was in her 20s or 30s or even middle age, but if she's around 15 to 19, I don't see what the problem is. I agree.
No, I mean, honestly, I don't see the problem with adults trick-or-treating either.
Well, exactly. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and I'll hopefully remember to tell you what type it is by the end of the story. But, Amber also has a joke, so let's hear it, Amber.
What is Snow White's brother's name?
Oh, Egg White.
Yes.
I think I've heard that one before. I think we've read that one before. My memory is sharp, folks. Sharp like a lion's teeth, claws, and tail. I don't know. There's just something somewhere in there. Why Egg White? Well, it's such a weird, like, punchline. Like, I know Snow White is white because of the snow, right? And Egg White would be white like the whites of an egg, but they're so like tenuous of like a connection. I just don't feel like it's the best connection.
I think it's just because they have the same last name.
Yeah. And I have Mega Mint tea. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider giving me a like. And if you didn't, consider giving me a dislike. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you all tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.